Okay, I think I need to start once more. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I was speaking and I didn't know that I forgot to press the live button. I'm so sorry. Okay, very good afternoon. Very heartily welcome to everyone and all present here, to all the people who have joined me in this webinar. And uh, a very good evening, good morning to all the people who have joined me from the different parts of the world. And thank you so much for taking your times out on this weekend. And this webinar is designed in such a way so that your queries related to thesis writing can be sorted out. Okay. So before we got on to the webinar structure, let me give you a quick structure or a quick information about Research Graduate. Research Graduate is a one stop solution when you talk about your research queries and research concerns. So, be it your topic selection, be it your statistical problems, be it your proposal writing, because see, every researcher is at a different level of research, right? At different stages of research. So whatever your concerns are, whatever your issues are when it comes to research writing, you may rely upon Research Graduate. So your proofreading, your topic selection, even if you don't you have a trouble writing a paper, you may come to Research Graduate and simply give a knock to it. Okay. So Research Graduate is a one-stop solution for all the research queries of budding researchers. So now the question comes, how to give a buzz to research graduates. So you may simply browse us on researchgraduate.com, and you may simply connect us to the given number, and you may simply write us to the given email ID as well. All right. Now, let me just brief you about the structure of today's webinar. So, the presentation goes around like 90 minutes or so. When I say 90 minutes or so, it does not necessarily means clock timing by 90 minutes. I may stretch up beyond 90 minutes or so, and we may stretch like 88 to 85 minutes also, depends upon the discussions we'll be having. However, when it comes to question and answer sessions, um, it may need not to have only 30 minutes. We may exceed 30 minutes or so as well, as long as I'm able to answer your questions. So as long as you have your questions, I'm there for you. Now, when it comes to PPT recordings and the certificate, it'll be sent to your registered email ID. So make sure that your registered email IDs are the correct ones and the ones you browse regularly. Okay. All those who are who have joined from their phones, so they might can have certain issues because sometimes the phones give little trouble in the in having a better experience of the video. However, if you still face the issue joining, then you may get connected with the by increasing the video quality by 720p YouTube, right, on YouTube, right? Now it's time for us to start the webinar. Okay. All right. Now, the question which is flashing on your screen, it is a very well-known question. Okay, so I'm sure that all of you must be in the scorching heat in India. All those who must be joining, and I'm in a pullover because I'm currently located in Australia, and it's quite heavy, with a snowy weather here. So now, coming back to the question here, that what is a thesis? So the audiences with whom I'm interacting right now, they must be, all of you must be on the different stages of your research journey. Many of you must be on, what do you say that, uh, you know, working on your PhDs. Many of you must be on during the course of your PhD. Many of you must be thinking about starting the PhDs. Many of you must be an academician. Many of you must be, or during MPhil or doing some masters, progressing towards submitting your project or so on. So, thesis is a word which is a very familiar kind of word, right? Which is a very familiar kind of word. We have gone through this word. We have heard about this word quite often in our lifetimes, or quite often in our research times. But what exactly does it mean? In my opinion, thesis, research, dissertation, research project, I think they all mean same things, right? Why they all mean same things? Because they all depict the similar meanings, right? Because they all demands you to work on one topic, and then to give you a structured presentation. Like somebody said that, yeah, Vishali, yes, exactly the structured presentation of our research work. Now, what is our research work? The research work which we present in our thesis is on a particular topic. How I define research is research. Now, again and again, searching on a particular topic. Now, in depth analysis of a topic is research. And when you document it in a form of a report, it becomes your thesis. Okay, it becomes your thesis. Well, many people say that your research report or your dissertation or your project report or so on depends upon the structure. It depends upon your structure, like, the university demands you to call it so. So when you say that, what exactly is a thesis? So it is basically, it is a academic writing. It is a piece of academic writing which you need to submit when you are completing your semester or when you are completing your course. So this course can be your PhD, or it is often your PhD is. Okay? So why I say full semester also? Because you're in, by the end of many of your master's course also, you need to submit your research projects. Let's say your MBAs, or your even during by the end of your BBAs also, your BTechs also, you need to submit a research project. So this webinar can actually help those people as well, those who are yet to attempt a submission of a thesis. Okay, all right, let's move on and understand what exactly a thesis in a, you know in a bit more way. All right, it is generally a degree requirement. Absolutely. If you don't want to write a thesis, if you don't have to write a thesis, who will do a PhD? If it's just a viva, I will do PhD twice, right? And then the final structure of your your thesis depends upon what discipline you are into. When I say discipline, whether your thesis belongs to management, or your thesis depends upon your pharmacology or literature or history, or any other domain of your chosen discipline, your topic in particular. Okay, now, very keenly please understand, you choose your topic from your discipline. Let's say somebody is doing the thesis from engineering discipline, so the topic will be from engineering. Let's say thermodynamics, it is a topic. Okay, now when it comes to title is a more particular name given to your thesis, by which your thesis will be recognized. Are you getting my point? Like, for instance, I'll give you my example. My discipline when I did my PhD was management. I did my PhD in management. That was my PhD. That was my discipline. My topic when I did my PhD, it was in change management. So you may further can understand was my discipline of my PhD was management. Under management, it was human resource management. Then when I did my PhD, when I decided to do my PhD, my topic was change management. Okay, I decided to do my PhD under change management, and my title was an experiential approach to change management in healthcare industry. So I hope I'm able to make you understand the difference between discipline, then your topic, and then your title. Okay, and then further your theoretical approach, like whether you want to develop a model under that, you want to go for literature study, you want to go for other research methodological approach, then further into that, right? Okay, so this is the way you characterized or you explain the structure of your thesis. I hope I am good to go. Just in case anybody is having any questions, I would appreciate that please keep a note of those questions. We will take all the questions by the end of the webinar, because taking the question in between the webinar, make me lose the actual flow of it. Okay. All right. Just be sure that I'll be taking all of them. All right. Now, coming back to the content of a thesis. So, when I say content of a thesis, so the content which I will be discussing today, it is actually a general one. When I say the general one, it is general as in terms of it can be referred by anybody. However, every university, okay, every university, like somebody is doing from IIT, somebody is from JNU, somebody is from Jamia, somebody is from Delhi University, and there are many more around the corner of the world in India. Every university is having their prescribed structure of thesis. Okay. But having said that, having said that, but everything, whatever we consider as a content in the thesis, remains or fall or just ponder around the same content which we will be discussing. Okay. All right. Now, when I say content of a thesis, now your content of the thesis will definitely will let you talk, or it demands you talk about the title page, of course, wherein you'll talk about title. I told you what is the title. Okay. Then the name and the affiliation, like where is, you know, your, uh, your university, your department. Okay. Then the date at times depends. Again, I told you your university structure givens, but your title, your affiliation, department name, university name, supervisor name has to be there. Great. Now comes your table of contents. Now, guys, this may sounds slow to many people, that we all know this thing, we need to hurry up. However, all these things are very, very important to know. Reason being, especially the students, the scholars, I should say, that those who are in the final stages of their PhDs, of the writing their thesis, or they're just at the closure of submitting their thesis, they would understand the importance of how how time taking this activity is to align the index or the table of content page. Let's say, for instance, my introduction page is falling on 23, right? I have mentioned that introduction page, chapter 1, should be on 23 page. But when I'm going to the actual thesis, it's not going on 23 page. So there is a mismatch in pages. So you need to be in very, very careful when you are arranging the page numbers, when you are arranging the appendices. So the list of tables, the list of figures, this to be very careful. Now, why I'm stressing on too much on this? Let's say you send your thesis to me for the review. Your university approaches me and like, okay, fine, I'm here to review it. Now, I will not just flip on the pages and I will say that chapter 1, I will just find it out. No. Excuse me. I will go to your table of contents. I'll have to look to your methodology. I will see that where so and so student has mentioned the sampling. Okay, it's page number 109. I'll directly go to the 109. And I'm not able to find 109 sampling on that. There's a mismatch. I'll just quickly shut down the thesis and I'll say, the review is the pages, the table of content is not well arranged. I hope you're getting my point. So it has to be very well arranged. Then comes your abstract. You may say that abstract, when you are preparing your thesis, the bigger form of abstract, call it as synopsis, very should be very well crafted, should be very well crafted. In general, we say that first impression is the last impression, right? It works with abstract as well. Okay. Usually, the abstract, what is exactly is abstracted, I'll tell you in detail also. It roughly goes around 250, 300, and at max 500. I'm saying at the maximum side 500. Okay, not more than that. What exactly is it? I'll tell you in detail. Then comes acknowledgments. Now, when you say acknowledgement, obviously, acknowledgement says whom you like to say thank you. Simply, whom you like to say thank you for your thesis, for your research work. If, especially for the students who are from the science background, like, there are many bodies who support your, or you who fund your work. You'd like to say thank you to your work for their work, for their support, for their fundings. So you'll have to acknowledge them in your acknowledgement section. Then comes your introduction chapter. Okay. Now, if when you say introduction, see, all these things I'll take in detail. Okay. One by one, in detail, I'll tell you what exactly is it. And I'll tell you in basic what it is. Okay. So don't worry, Aditi. All right. Introduction chapter is basically the way we introduce ourselves. My name is so and so, I'm doing so and so, and this is my interest, these are my hobbies, and so and so. I'm introducing myself. I want you guys to know about me. Similarly, the introduction chapter tells the reviewer, the audiences, the reader about our thesis. Okay? It tells the reader about our work. It tells that what exactly our thesis is, talking about, what exactly it has in it. Okay. So when you say introduction, so my audience is able to know what should they can expect when they are going through the thesis. Okay. Okay. See, there is one request, if I can talk specially about one particular domain, I would be restricted in that, because we have multiple audiences, and then we're talking on particularly one domain would be little bit, all right, difficult. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then comes your substantive chapters. Now, when you say substantive chapters, now your literature review, your methodology chapter, your results and findings, your discussions, your conclusions, and so on. Okay, these are your substantive chapter. Now, these chapters will vary as per your university structure. Okay, you need not to get worried about that which exactly should be the chapter number 3, chapter number 4. This structure will be given to you by your university. Then we talk about your discussion, your conclusion, references, and appendices. Now, appendices particularly will be given to you, your supervisor, if they say add your questionnaire or add your interview asked. You have collected the data by interview, add it, add the questions. Okay, you may go ahead. Okay. Now, This was just a glimpse of each content just by a snapshot. Now we will talk each content in detail. And somebody said, is it okay to hyperlink the content section? Like when you say chapter number 1, page number 23, hyperlink it. Absolutely good idea. I think it is quite obvious these days. You guys are very tech smarty. So, yes, to hyperlink it is very easy. However, even if you hyperlink it, my main idea is to convey the message that the hyperlink also should be wisely, when I say wisely, as in very carefully done. Okay, so when you are hyperlinking the 23 page, the introduction should actually start from 23 page or so and so. Okay, so it is just because, you know what, when you are actually writing a thesis, you are so engrossed in it, you are working on that single topic from probably months, and so, and in case of phd it's been years on working on this. You are so exhausted, you are so engrossed, so all these things, no, they appears out to be a very last minute thing. You just want to get rid of your thesis. I'm honestly telling you all this. You, at this point in time, when you are submitting your thesis, when you are about to submit your thesis, all this appears to just, you want to get rid of your work. Trust me. You are just like, okay, my chapters are organized, my thesis are arranged. I just want to get it print or just want to arrange it online and I just want to submit it. Now, my point is that last minute preparations for a thesis should also be given priority. Okay. If your university is sending the soft copy of the thesis, the hyperlink also should be carefully put. Okay. Yes, when we receive the thesis, the hyperlink saves our time. However, many a times hyperlinks does not match the page numbers. Okay, that's what my point is. Just carefully give proper time to what you do in your thesis. Now, coming to your chapter introduction of your thesis. Okay, now what is to be written in that? I am not focusing on any specific domain. Let me be very clear here. I am not focusing any domain in here. I'm just talking in general because this is a generic, this is a generic webinar for all the PhD scholars and the other people who are attempting their thesis. So, the content of a thesis introduction chapter, what exactly should it entail? This is actually an opening section. Okay, this is actually an opening section. This introduce your thesis to your reader. With this, they get to know what is there in your work. Okay, what exactly they can expect in your thesis. When they will go through your introduction, when they will read your introduction, what is to be known to them. Okay, now how will they get to know? They will get to know with the background of the study. You will write the background of your study. Now, what exactly is the background of the study? That means what has actually happened in the past, in the literature, exactly related to your topic, exactly in context of your project. That is background of your study. Okay, like when you are giving an idea to your audience, they should be explored to the world that, okay, this has happened, this was done by this author, this was done by this author. Then only they'll be able to establish the link that how your study fit in. Okay, all right. Then your research gap as in why there is a need of your study, the research problem. Now research problem basically is like when you thought of to pick up the idea of your study, well, why there is a need to pick up your study. The introduction will also gives a clear illustrations of your aim which you would like to achieve with your study, the objectives and the questions, so that I think by far now you must have got the clear idea that whenever a reader is reading your introduction chapter, by the end of that chapter, the point of concerns in the study should be very clear. Okay, let's put up an example. Let's say I'm trying to understand that let's say I'm trying to understand that when I say that real estate market in UAE is quite turbulent. Okay, real estate market, it's just generally a topic, real estate market, to understand the real estate market. Okay, I want to understand that what factors are actually involved when a consumer makes a purchase for a real estate. I want to understand those factors. So, my topic or my thesis is basically revolving around to study the factors behind the consumer behavior for a real estate purchase. Okay. Now, why I'm studying this? The reason is that during the past study, during the literature which I have covered, during the literature which I have gone through, I have realized that the previous studies have understood the consumer behavior in Saudi, in Kuwait, in UAE as a country, but none of them have focused on Dubai as a city. I want to study that, particularly only study. Specifically, second reason is I'm giving you the reason why I have chosen this topic, because you also have to give the reasons. Okay. Then also, the real estate market is very turbulent these days. The economy is evolving, real estate market is changing. Okay, so that's why more and more people are coming forward and making a purchase. So I want to understand that what makes them to make a purchase for real estate. Irrespective the visa formalities, they can't stay forever for them without a job. So why they are buying a property there? I want to understand that. This is my objective. To understand the factors involved in a real estate purchase by a consumer. And the gap is, which I have found, is that very limited literature covered in the past on understanding these factors influencing the attitude of consumer behavior in real estate, specifically in Dubai. Okay. Another example we can take, like volunteering. You want to understand the volunteer behavior. Like, somebody wants to, let's say, understand volunteer, social work. Okay. So how and why people volunteer towards social behavior? I want to understand that. So I want to understand that thing in, let's say, Andhra Pradesh region in India, that if there is any kind of voluntary work is happening, why people are doing it, whether their income is influencing, whether their age group is influencing them, whether their family values is influencing them. I want to understand them. So my objective is to identifying the factors influencing the voluntary behavior of people in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so these kind of thing you need to understand. Now the question is that how to decide these topic. Now this is again a different, altogether a different discussion. We will take some other time on this, but this happens like based on your domain and based on the basis of your discussion with your supervisor and all. You will get to know it. Okay, but all these things needs to be structured in your introduction. Okay, all right, so let's move on further in your introduction chapter. Then significance, obviously, why you are doing this study. This needs to be, proof to the world why they should be interested in your study, right? Like, you will explain them that if I'm doing this, what, how and why they will be benefited, right? And obviously there are some limitations also, couple of definitions you are there. And also there are some universities which demands to write these limitations in the last chapters. Also depends upon the structure also. Now here you can have a switch that some universities they would like to have these limitations in the introduction chapter, and it depends upon the suggestion of your supervisor, you may write them in the last also. And then you will define the structure of your coming chapters. Like in chapter 2, my reader can expect this. In chapter 3, they can expect this. A layout of your dissertation. That will also be explained here in chapter 1, introduction. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Then come next section, that is review of literature. This is very important. People say methodology is important. I say literature is also important. Rather, review of literature is also important. Why? I'll tell you why. Reason being, review of literature, if not done wisely, let me tell you, if it's not done wisely, then your thesis, your work, your own work will not be able to justify the comments you will make in it. Now, what do I mean by it? A partially done review of literature or incomplete review of literature will not be able to tell that what all kind of theories, what all kind of important works are being done in the past by the authors. Are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say? So, a thorough review of literature, that's why if you see that many a times, the scholars they take majority of the time during their PhD journey to complete their review of literature only. Yes, when they are doing their PhD, the majority of the time is being taken up by reviewing the literature. Like what kind of work is being done by previous literature, by previous authors associated with similar topic. If not similar domain, then on the similar line of theories, on similar line of models. So you try to review that work, and as much as work you review, trust me, you will find the most precise gap for your study. First thing. Second thing is, you will be able to refine your own language of the thesis. This I think many people don't know. I'm telling you a tip. More of the literature you will review, it will benefit you to refine the language for your own thesis. Yes, it will help you to refine the language of your own thesis. It will benefit you to to incorporate how to structure the sentences, how to form the theoretical framework, how to frame the models. It will benefit you in that. Okay. All right. Now when it comes to review of literature, what do you expect out of that? So review of literature, when you talk about that, firstly, it helps you to come out of the research gap. Now, let me just highlight what are research gaps. Research gaps or research gap is that area which is not being covered by previous scholars, or which is partially covered by previous scholars. Okay. Now, for instance, if somebody has done a study on understanding the mobility of a particular instrument, let's say for example, I'm not good in engineering concept, so please pardon me and bear with me with that example. I'm just trying to fit in that. So if somebody try to understand the factors affecting the mobility of a particular machine, uh, in a one area, in one region, and if you would like to understand the similar thing in another region, you can do that, because the gap is that the mobility factors was been understand only in that region. So partially done or not done areas can be understood as a research gap. However, you need to justify those gaps. Now when I say justify those gaps, I mean that you need to explain that how this has not been attempted by previous authors. Again, I'll give you an example. Now, when I say that, I want to understand the factors influencing the consumer behavior in Dubai. So, I will say that so and so author understood the real estate factors influencing consumer behavior in real estate in Saudi, in Bahrain, or so and so did in Qatar, so and so did in Abu Dhabi. But very limited. Don't say that nobody. Use the word very limited. Very limited literature is being found covering the factors influencing the consumer behavior in Dubai. This is the way you explain your research gaps. Okay. This is one type of research gap. Another way you may say that any kind of methodology, if somebody has understood a particular topic qualitatively, you would like to understand it by quantitatively. That also can be a gap. Right? So the approach, the change in approach can also be justified as a research gap. Okay? Then coming to literature review. So literature review is basically when you give a overview of the relevant theories, relevant models, and then what exactly is happening in your area of research and has happened in your area of research. Then you say it is review of literature. Okay. Also you write about theoretical framework, wherein you talk about all the variables, or all the you know the methodology of your research. Like for example, the similar topic has been reviewed qualitatively in the past research or quantitatively in the past research. Okay. How your study is in relationship to others. Like for instance, your study is relevant in terms of, like, your study is talking about variable d. Okay. And the other authors had been talking about variable a, b, and c. So how your study is an extension to that particular theory. Okay. Also, you need to showcase that how your study will fill in that gap which you have addressed. Let's say, for instance, you have addressed the gap of consumer factors influencing consumer behavior in Dubai. So, how your study will be able to identify those factors? That all you will be reviewing in the literature review. Okay? All right. Then you need to demonstrate how well you have identified the topic. Your research gaps will come into it. And then also, I have just, just for the sake of your better understanding of literature review, you may also divide literature review in three sections: introduction, body section, and conclusion section. Introduction section primarily talks about the generic overview of literature review, wherein what you are addressing to in this particular chapter, your major theories or frameworks. And then when you're talking about the body section, therein you're talking about the important authors, all the major models, all the major theories. And conclusion section will talk about how your research gaps have been identified, how your theory, how your study will be able to fulfill these research gaps. The conclusion section will highlight the gaps identified. Okay? All right. Then, how you can actually organize your literature. This is a very, very widely identified questions to me, that how you may actually organize your literature. First is chronological according to date. Okay, that is when you have identified your literature. So you may actually go for, this author said this in 1988. Then you will put on the literature of the author who said something in 1989, then coming to 1922, then 95, and so on. So this is chronological. This is not possible in all the kind of researches. This is primarily, you know possible in wherein you are showing some side of evolution. You're primarily showcasing some side of evolution or development in your research. Then comes your thematic organization. Now, when I say thematic organization, here I'm talking about that when I'm organizing my literature according to the theme or grouped by a theme. So here, what I'm trying to do is that major themes, I'm talking about them in one go. Then I'm shifting on one other theme. I can also replace these themes, or I can also understand these themes by variables. Okay, primarily for my research work, I follow them. Okay, so wherein you are talking about the variables first, then you're talking about another variables first, and so and so. Okay, then third is methodological. Herein you are focusing on methodology followed by the other authors, like how the particular authors, by conducting interviews, or by conducting case studies, or qualitative or quantitative or exponential approach or observational approach. So here the highlight or the main observation is on the methodology followed by the authors in the past literature. Okay, therein, so these three ways are the primarily approach to be, to organize your literature review. Okay, now here is the one of the most important chapter or section of your thesis: research methodology. What exactly research methodology is? First is understand this thing, what exactly research methodology is. Research methodology section ask or demands to illustrate the methods used by you in your thesis. Understood? What all research methods you have used in your thesis, in your research work, you will discuss them. Now, when I say discuss them, I do not mean just name them. This is the biggest problem students are having these days, scholars. One aspect is choosing the methods. Like, I want to do random sampling. Okay, I have mentioned I'm doing random sampling. Why I'm doing random sampling? Why I'm doing random sampling? That should be explained in my thesis. So, in my research methodology, what kind of methods I have chosen, why I have chosen, justification of all those methods, how this methodological choices have actually helped me to reach the desired result. Now, whether I have reached the results or not, this is unknown. You can't be so sure that the objective which you have chosen are always met. No, you can't be so sure about it. Okay. But how your choices of methods are justified, like when you say that I have chosen interviews as a data collection method for my study. Why? Getting my point? So let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. If I want to understand the opinion of human behavior, or let's say, better way understand like this, I want to understand human behavior. I want to understand the thoughts of employees. So I have to choose a data collection method which will give me detailed answers. If I'm asking them something, so I would not like to go for the answers in yes or no, or probably one word, or probably which is giving them the options. No, I would like to go for something which is open, or which is giving them the option of short talking, right? So, my wise choice of data collection method would be either open-ended questionnaire or interviews. So this way you need to choose your data collection method, and you need to justify them as well. And again, another example is, let's say I have to collect a data from wide number of people, many number of people. So I just can't have choosing the people one on one. I just have to go randomly. So the best method of choosing my sample would be random selection, random sampling, right? So the best way is that I am going for a random sampling. Now, why, how, all this I have to go explain in my, you know, thesis. Okay? All right. So, when it comes to research methodology, you'll have to explain your research problem. Okay. What approach you are choosing to solve that problem. Every thesis have a research problem that you'd like to uncover the factors underneath the consumer behavior. You'd like to understand the human thoughts process, and so and so. So what approach you will choose to understand that problem, then any uncommon methodology, if you have any, not always, it's not always, then how you'll collect the data and why you have chosen the method, like just I discussed. So whatever methodology you will use, you will explain it and why. Okay. All right. Then comes your results and discussion section. Okay. Now when it comes to results and discussion section. Basically, it's very important. Now, this section actually will tell that what exactly is the contribution of your work. This is the time to showcase your problem. Okay. Now, somebody asked me research problem. Now, basically, the research problem is that aspect of your thesis around which your research study is cornering. This is one aspect. This is the area around which your study is focused on. Now, my thesis was on understanding that how HR based change management happen in healthcare industry. So, my research problem is to understand the factors influencing HR based change management in healthcare industry. Okay? All right. All right. Now, when it comes to results and discussion section, this is the time for you to showcase the contribution of your work. Now, my approach always, it's be like that. Please use appropriate data visualization tools. Now, when I say data visualization tools, understand what are data visualization tools. Data visualization tools means your pie charts, your graphs, your histograms, your the way you represent your data. You have the data with you, you have analyzed it, now you need to discuss it. So the graph, the tables, your photographs, so all these are your data visualization tools. Okay, now the point is that please make use of these data visualization tool appropriately and wisely. Proper subheading should be given. Now, when I say subheading, please just don't keep on talking about your results in one go like Ramayana. No. Sorry to say like that. Just take my words back. No, in one go, we are not explaining that. We are not just we are not narrating a story. What I meant to say like that. Okay, we are not narrating a story, we are just organizing it like proper subheading. Okay, we are like proper subheading should be given. How will you give the subheadings? According to your objective set. Go back to your objectives, then align your results according to your objectives. The way you have arranged your objectives, try to arrange your results according to that. My objective once demands me to answer this. All right, then proper subheadings, then come back to this. Now, when I say subheadings means how will you like to arrange your results? Just don't go by paragraph. Why I'm saying so? Because it's difficult to read. Okay. Then comes your, your whatever your results have. Right? How will you write your discussion? So whatever your interpretation has, let's say for example your pie chart says that 70% of people agree to your questions. Now what does it mean? 70% of the people agreeing means what? That majority of the population is agreeing using this particular brand or so. That means this brand is popular. This is the interpretation. This is the contribution of your study, that by stating this you have highlighted that how much this brand is popular. Okay, all right. Now coming to summary and conclusion, this is another section of your thesis. Now summary is basically is when you are summarizing or restating of your thesis. In this, your main purpose of the thesis, your research methods, your subsection, your recommendations, your results, conclusion, everything comes. Everything. Everything. So it is like giving a glimpse to your entire research work, whatever you have done. Now, in introduction, you are telling that this will be done. In summary, you are telling this has done. Getting the difference? Introduction, you are just giving a glimpse that this will be done. In summary, you are telling them this is being done. Okay. Now, in conclusion, I have just that's why I have just stated the difference between both of them so that you get a clear idea. In conclusion, you summarize the findings of the study, how your study has contributed. Then you simplify your research questions. You tell the reader that this is the study's main contribution is. Whether there is a limitation or weakness of the study or not, then your recommendations for future. That obviously you would like, let's say, for example, you have conducted a qualitative study. You would like future researchers to conduct a quantitative study. So that kind of recommendation you will make in future. Or you would like to say that, we have conducted this in a region, in a particular region. You would like somebody else to conduct it in a city. You may go like that recommendations. Okay, so this kind of thing you may go for in your conclusion. All right. Now, how to draft the conclusion? Now, why I'm telling you to carefully look for the conclusion step is that because being a reviewer, I can tell you that um, when we are reviewing any thesis, we simply flip majority of the time either to methodology or to conclusion. It's because when we are going to methodology, we get to know that these are the research methods that are being used. And when we are going to conclusion, we get to know that these are the results we have got to know. So, for conclusion, just go for the introduction. Now, when I say introduction, introduction of the conclusion, just understand the difference. Introduction of the conclusion. Okay. Then, what all are your overall findings? Whatever you have found, summarize them and then write them. Like particular brand and so has been found to be popular over the competitors, and then with this the marketing strategies can be referred to this and so. Okay, can be done. Then how your study can be a contributory one. This is very important. How your study can actually contribute to the field, to the literature, if somebody is doing in pharmacy, to the pharmacy field, how you can actually contribute to the literature or academics or the corporate world. Your limitation. I'm telling you what to do step by step. First, write the introduction, then your findings, then your contribution, then limitation, then recommendation, and then closing summary. Your conclusion chapter is complete. Any thesis, MBA, BBA, PhD, MPhil, any thesis, these steps, good to go. Okay? Okay. Now, future recommendations also very important, and many a time what to write also. This question also has come many a times. So just sort of giving a quick glimpse of this as well. So when you talk about what to write in future recommendation, so building on a particular finding in your research, okay, let's say for example you are working on particular thing, you are working on a particular way, particular area in your industry or in your what do you call as in your corporate assignment or in your particular academic domain, you may recommend it to for future researchers that they may extend the research. Then if you find that there is something which is missed in your research, see, no researcher, I think you may call it as that I'm PhD or I'm a doctorate, my research has to be perfect. No, but by the end of it, you may think that I could have done better. I could have done better. That's a kind of dissatisfaction you always get with your research. So you and that's perfectly fine. Let me tell you, that's perfectly fine. So what you do is you can address that flaw in your future recommendation, that future researchers can actually do that. Okay, probably they can change the location, they can change the culture, they can expand the theory, they can statistically test the theory or model. This can be your future recommendations. Okay, all right. Now here we'll just take a quick break for 5 minutes, and then we'll get back to the discussion further. All right, we'll just get back to Hello everyone. So we are back after the break. So let me move ahead. So as I told you that we'll be talking about the abstract concept. Um, in the beginning, we did discuss about just in a short, very short, that what exactly is an abstract. Now we'll be talking about it in detail. All right. Okay. Now, abstract also, it's a very well known term. And for this, when we talk about abstract, abstract is a miniature form of thesis. Let me tell you this way. Okay. But it's a very important aspect. It's a very important component of your thesis, because when you give the abstract, or probably when you present your abstract to somebody, they give an idea about your thesis. Okay. It is generally presented at the onset. When I say onset, at the beginning of your thesis. Okay. So it is basically giving a glimpse of your work, what exactly your thesis does entail, what exactly your thesis will be having in detail. So, abstract will give your idea what kind of research problem you'll be having in hand, what kind of methodology, just in snapshot. I'm not saying that it'll be a detailed version of it, because detail any which ways you'll be having in your thesis. So abstract will give you the methodology glimpse, the problem glimpse, and little bit of the idea, expected findings, what you'll be having. Okay. So this will give a little snapshot. It's like a trailer to a movie. So whenever you go for a movie, they always release the trailer for it. It's like a trailer to the movie. Okay. So abstract is a very important component of your thesis, which needs to be presented well, which needs to be drafted well. I always use the word, it needs to be crafted well, rather. Uh, because a very well designed, a very well crafted abstract will set out the clear expectations of the reviewer, that whatever has been written in the thesis is been designed well. Okay. Now, just one very important thing, that abstract is not a introduction. Please take it very clearly that by saying abstract, you don't mean that abstract is not a introduction. Okay. However, it is giving you as in, if it is giving the reviewer a summary of your thesis in a short version, probably in 250, 300, or at max 500, was I like I said in the beginning. It's giving a summary of the thesis. Okay. When I say how well crafted it should be, again, there are different ways to write abstract. One way is to write just continuously, first give a one or two lines of introduction of the abstract, then you go on to the one or two important theories of it, then you go to research problems, methodology, and the expected findings. Or there are another ways to, like, when you have to give the breakup of your abstract, like introduction, background, methodology, findings, results, under specific subheadings. This will be told to you that which way you need to write your abstract. Okay. 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 Next is, what is a research proposal? Now, many universities, they actually wants to know before they enroll you, before they enroll you as a scholar, they wants to know what you have in your mind. They wants to know the idea behind your research work. They want to understand whether you are an eligible scholar, whether you are a right candidate to work with them, or they just simply wants to understand your research idea. Now, how do they do that? They do it by asking you to submit a research proposal. Okay. Also, in many cases, it is called as synopsis. So, basically the same thing. Okay. Now, the structure of research proposal or synopsis, generally it is to be given by the university, where it is to be submitted. Let's say, for example, you are willing to apply for a particular university A to Z, and they ask you to submit a research proposal, so they will give you a performer. They'll give you a performer which entails the detail in which you will work around it, and what kind of details to be filled in that. When I say details, it does ask you to discuss about the research literature a little bit, the methodology. The main very important aspect in research proposal is to discuss your methodology and justify it. Expected findings, that what are you actually expecting to find it out after that. Okay. And then your summary. So generally, research proposal should be developed once you are thorough with the topic, once you know, okay, fine, this is to be done, this I know that this is my area of concern, this is my topic, and a fair good review of literature also demands. This will give you a good understanding about the methodology also, which previous authors have used. Okay. So the guideline of the research proposal, the structure of the research proposal, all that should be understood well before you start writing it. Okay. All right. So let's move ahead and let's understand further. Now, this is let me just explain you further. This is the general structure of research proposal, which I have just put it for your reference. Generally, what do we entail in a research proposal is exactly similar, or probably following in the same line as we do in the thesis, like your introduction, your literature review, your research design, your implication, reference list, research schedule. Budget is optional, is not for all the theses. Okay. And in this particular structure, I have also discussed what exactly this each section does it means. Okay. Now here, again, I'm saying the same thing. Needless to follow the same pattern, your university can give you another structure of research proposal as well. Here, working planner schedule means that how you are going to progress with your research. Like how much time you'll take for literature review, how much time you'll take for data collection, how much time you take for data analysis, for thesis report writing, and so on. So entire work plan and schedule they may ask. And when it comes to defending the research proposal, the main the thrust is on methodology justification. Many times, I'm not saying always, but many times. Okay. Okay. This is again one more template for research proposal. So when you will get these slides, so in your inbox, you have a couple of fair good structure of research proposal. So now all of you understand what is a literature review. You all understand what is a methodology, timeline, budget, and everything. So you all have a fair good idea of research proposal components as well. Okay. Okay, this is again a research proposal template. Now here, when you talk about introduction, here you're writing a research questions. What do you have in mind when you're conducting your research? In literature review, your literature, your theoretical approach, methodology, the procedures or data collection, why you have chosen that, how will you justify it, everything. So this particular structure, the reason for choosing this particular structure was that this entails the reasoning for every section as well. So all these structure which you have seen so far basically involves different structure of research proposal. So this may not fit for management, the another fit for literature, the another fit for engineering. So one same structure cannot be applicable for all the domains. Okay, so again the suggestion is that you should go for your university structure, you should go for your the institution where you are applying for that particular structure, but you should understand the content of it. You should understand how to justify it. Okay. All right. Now coming to the referencing part. Okay, now this referencing part, it is very important. Basically, why it is important is that before you clear out all the requirements and you submit your work, referencing is very important because you submit your work, you support your ideas and arguments, it should give a clear idea to your knowledge and research. From where you have taken the idea, from where you have taken the the thoughts, the referencing give background to that. Okay, why you need to do the referencing is because I'll just do it full screen. Because you need not to do the plagiarism. You are avoiding plagiarism. Plagiarism is a crime. Plagiarism is sin. Now, what is plagiarism is? Plagiarism is when you are either copying somebody work, either not giving the credits to somebody, either not not copying completely, but changing the language but not giving the credits. So this is plagiarism. So when you reference it, when you give the citations, you're avoiding that plagiarism. Okay, and giving proper referencing is mandatory in your thesis, has to be. It refers that how much detail in depth literature is being reviewed by the author. Okay. Okay, now how to refer the sources efficiently. Firstly, my very important suggestion to all of you is just be systematic. Systematic as in, just don't make your desktop of your system a trash bin. Whatever you seems is fine, and just add it. No, don't do that. Make proper folders, make proper subfolders, add to it systematically. Okay, proper softwares you use for it. Okay, then whatever referencing system you will have to go, MLA or Harvard or APA, whatever you need to go, follow that. Why I'm saying so? That if your university says you need to follow Harvard's referencing system, you are not following that. You said that I'll change it later. That later never comes. Okay? So, proper referencing should be done, in my opinion, since very start. Okay? All right, so this was all from my side. Now we are open for the questions. Okay, let's take questions one by one. Okay, how many pages are ideal for a research proposal? That will be told to you by the university, Mr. Abel. Generally 10 to 15, in between that. Okay, can you please explain a separate session on the comparative? Definitely, we'll be doing that. Okay, if RRC asks you that how your research is beneficial, what will new view will you contribute to mankind? Please explain. That you will already be explain your research proposal in significance. In significance, not necessarily that every topic you can directly relate to mankind well-being, Mr. Ali. But if that's so, then you will have to tell it first, mention it into significance beforehand only. And if you think so this kind of question can come, then prepare a separate slide also. Slide as in, because obviously you will be, when you are presenting a research proposal, you'll be preparing the presentations also, so prepare a separate slide also for that. How to write synopsis? I told you, research proposal and synopsis parallelly are the same one. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Limitations. Limitations are those area which you think, Mr. Azizi, you were not able to complete because due to paucity of the time, paucity of the cost, or non-availability of the sample or something, and you think that some others can be do. So those limitations you should mention. I told you in this. Can we use several theory? Yes, Mr. Manju. Yeah, I said yes also. I said yes also. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. What is random? Random sampling is Chandramoli, wherein we are not, using any basis to choose our sample. And where the sample size is large, we can use random sampling. Please tell us about research proposal, how best it will be framed. Firstly, you should know about your topic which you are working and follow the structure of the university where it is to be framed, where it should be submitted. Okay. Advanced thesis writing tips. This webinar was on that only, Nayani. Okay. Okay, what is the difference between summary and abstract, Rupali? Basically, summary and abstract, you are primarily, Rupali, giving you in the onset of the thesis, in the beginning of the thesis. Summary is basically when you're done with the thesis, when your results are in your hand. Abstract, when you're right, when you're expecting the results. Okay. Viji, if I can send my contact, can you guide me? You can reach out the team. We can definitely get in touch. Okay. Rupali, I just answer your question. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Uh, it's okay. Interpretation, Micheline, it's okay. If you have got the results, interpretation means how, see, understand everybody. Interpretation means for you, those percentage means something, 70%, 10%, 2%. But how will you make others that percentage understood? That is interpretation. Okay. That is only interpretation. When I help me to know about pilot study. Pilot study is, let's say, for example, let's say, very layman example, I'll tell you. I want to start a catering business. Okay. I think I'm a very good cook, but I want to know whether people will like my food or not. So, what will I do is I will try and test my food on, let's say, 10 people and will take their feedback. That is pilot study. If they say my food is good, I will start my catering business. That is pilot study. Okay. Explain the way to write the methodology. I told you, methodology, I told you, Nikita, how to write you should know the methods, firstly, why you are choosing them, and justify them. I'm doing qualitative study, how to add pictures that is not available in the field and creative form. It's okay, fine. Not necessarily data visualization tool because should be available every time. No, no, not. It's okay. But Zotero you can use on RAG. You can use that. Dr. Anand, when I say references, how old? Generally, references 10 to 12 years can be added. However, if it's very important, you may add older than that also, but not too many. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Azizi. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much. If possible, in like the brief difference between the abstract and the introduction. Of course, see, when you say that the abstract, when you write, when you're giving a hint about the entire thesis, and in a short glimpse, okay, when you are expanding it, you're writing your background also, you're writing your research problem in detail, you're writing your research questions in detail, that becomes your introduction. One another thing I'll tell you, many times in your thesis writing, you will find that you are repeating things. You are repeating things. Things are getting repetitive. Okay? So it's okay. Okay. Research problem versus research gap give rise to research problem. As I just said that, many times you find that okay, this is a repeated things. Research gaps are being formulated into research problems. Okay, Varsha, I get confused between types of variables. Okay, independent, which are not affected by anyone. Independent. Dependent, which get affected by someone. Moderating, which are changing them. The name says it all. If my parents give me pocket money, I'll be happy. So this pocket money, my happiness depends upon pocket money. Pocket money is not bothered. Pocket money is independent. My happiness is moderate dependent on pocket money. Okay. Research gap, I just explained what is preferred. Footnotes or endnotes also is bibliography or substitute to both. Depends upon the structure of the university, Aditi. I mean, I can't say because many times they ask footnotes and bibliography. So depends upon university. EUI forever company go join connect. I don't know, Nadia. This is a wrong platform to ask it. How extent my literature should be in thesis? Okay. Now, generally, a thesis should be roughly around 150 to 200 pages. So you may, divide the number of pages accordingly. That how long your thesis chapters should be. Okay. How many reference should be there in literature review when it comes to thesis, when you say? So roughly 100, 80 to 100 can be. Yeah. What is the difference between abstract and synopsis? Abstract is a shorter form, synopsis is a detailed form. Yeah. Nadia is a wrong platform. You are asking on a wrong platform. If possible, can you ask your team to organize a webinar discuss? Sure, Pooja, we'll do that. We'll do that. What is the blue book method in citation in law course? Okay. See, basically, I am not a right person to ask question about law question, Abidullah. Okay. Bala Sahib, your question is if I choose subject but result not, it's okay. Not coming, see, I told you that results not coming as per you is absolutely fine. You can't manipulate results. Okay. Coming to the questions of Abidullah, you were asking about blue book method. So basically, uh, when you are decoding your citations, when you are doing fluency in your citation, that is blue code method. If I am not wrong, I would be knowing this much only. Is thesis same writing same as research writing? Yeah, research paper writing is a smaller version. Research paper is smaller than thesis. What are the limitation of experimental physics? Experimental physics is not my area, Arvind, so I'm so sorry about that. Approximately how many pages should a thesis report? 150 to 200 can be. I just told Alex. Can we use so many theories but mainly one? Yes, Dalan, we can. How to do a pilot study? Okay, you may do for a small sample size and then you can run a pilot study in that. Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much. Yes, it will be available. Yes. Hmm. Please explain, Wang. See, when we'll do the referencing in detail, plagiarism session, then Dr. Anand, I'll be giving you all the details of this referencing Vancouver, MLA, and in that, I think we there are you may refer to my previous webinars also. I have given in all the details. How long time to be taken one chapter? That depends which chapter you are writing. Okay. How many chapter computer? See, I would see particularly domain specific thesis number of pages. I would not be able to tell you that how much pages should be there in physics or computer science, but average of 150 to 200 should be an ideal one. Yes, Abidullah, you can use both, and that both the methods in one thesis is called as mixed method research. Okay, and Rahul, what should be the ideal set of master's level thesis? Something close to 100, 100 and 120. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shobha. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me have some other questions. If I think I've answered all. Hmm. If there is any other questions, please feel free to type. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shukla. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. How does it take to write a chapter? It depends upon which chapter you're writing. If it's a literature review, I told you the contents of it. If it's a methodology chapter, I told you the content of that too. However, generally, the literature review chapter takes a long of it, and the rest of the chapter relatively takes less time as compared to literature review chapter. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've qualified coursework now. I have shortlisted some topic. Now I'm confused. Like, please give me some hint to select. Okay, Mr. Syed, I would just a suggestion from my side. Please get in touch with your supervisor, um, because the topic should be in sync with the interest of your supervisor. Okay. Definitely, Naomi will be doing that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Question answer should be by asking one by one. We are doing that only, Mr. Bala Sahib. Can chapterization be done based on objectives? Uh, Chapterization is not on the basis of objectives. Your results are arranged. Yes, what we can do is when you are done with your literature review, after your methodology, you may have your sub chapters answering your objectives. You can do that, but they do not as consider as you have to actually name those chapters that you have highlighting the name of the chapters that you are answering those objectives, so they are considered as the sub chapters. How many theories are suitable for a review in a PhD thesis? That depends upon the topic, Mr. Julius. That that depends upon which topic you are considering. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Alex. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you. What should be the ideal length of a chapter? That depends upon the chapter only. Generally, your literature review is a lengthier chapter, and your result chapter is a lengthier one. Okay, we'll plan on the research methods as well. Supportive study we have to write for the PhD. Again, the supportive studies, when you say that, depends upon the topic which you have in your hands. Okay. Ma'am, can we do research without any questionnaire? Yes, you can. Just from previous data from book article. Yes, that's called a literature review study. Meta analysis. You can do that. Yes. Yes, you can. Can you suggest Scopus to publish in fast manner? Again, when you ask me Scopus Index Journal, which area, which domain? Okay. Hi, Joseph. Hi. Tell me important points of research proposal for beginners. WHO wants to enroll in PhD as many good demanded for enrollment. See, Pallavi, when you're writing your research proposal, please focus on strengthening your methodology and the contribution and the significance of your research. Okay. Okay. The research approach which you are following, like whether it be qualitative or quantitative, theory, if it is there, and any, like whether there is any particular theory which you are focusing or not. Can you help select the proposal topic which others haven't done in engineering domain? You have to do the literature review for that. Okay. Specific industry literature, so that can be my gap. Not necessarily you need to be, if you're not finding any specific industry literature, that itself is a gap, Swati. That itself is a gap. Okay. Any advice about defense? Yes, surely. Please focus on your methodology. Strengthen the methodology, and please focus on the significance of your thesis. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. How much literature review should be included in proposal? Do not make it a very lengthy one. Do not make it a very lengthy one. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Food feedback form. I think you can get in touch with the team. They will. Yeah, in mixed method, can we use standardized tool only in quantitative part instead of developing? Yes, you may, because you can do for. So we can try face to face and ask. See, interacting face to face for nearly from like 150 people on Zoom would be little difficult, Mr. Balasahib. I hope you can understand. That will take the entire day, right? Yes, Mr. Ashish, we do provide, research graduate do provide the writing services. Yes. When it comes to subtitle, Mr. President, I mean that depends upon your topic. Let's say at as less as 5, as many as can 10. You may go ahead. Is there any website where you can get scientific publications? There are many journals which go for publications for free as well. Tips on how to write a good thesis. This entire webinar, Mr. Bhutani, was on good thesis only. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. See, validating a questionnaire, you can get into touch with with an expert also. You can go for a pilot study also, and yeah, you may. The easiest way is go and get in touch with an expert if you are really in a hurry to get it done. Thank you. What is the maximum number of chapter we can form in a thesis? See, the number of chapters which I have discussed in the webinar today is the important one. I mean, you should have it in your thesis. When it comes to apart from them, like somebody discussed, like you can arrange the chapters on the basis of your objectives. You can have more than that. But number of chapters which I discussed today is the least you should have. You'll be getting in touch about the next webinar. Yeah. You will be getting the recording. Yes. We want to cite the reference in running matter in the introduction part. We need to cite the literature part of the author also. See, when it comes to referencing, any content which is taken from previous author has to be referenced, no matter wherever it is being put. I have 2 experimental groups and 2 intervention. I have to find out which intervention, so which research. Experimental design, yeah. Control group, you can experiment. You can talk about the control groups and experimental design, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, and I was based in Dubai, recently moved to Australia, and I have an experience of 14 years in teaching. And I am a DBA faculty, that's PhD faculty. I have an experience of teaching master's, graduate, and PhD. And I have a higher education certificate in teaching from Harvard as well. So that was all about me, and I'm associated with research graduate from past 1.5 years. Yes, you may, Rupali, you may get it validated as well for the better content of that. Yes, please get it validated too. Yes. Yes, you will get it. You will get it. Structure remains some more variates as per. Yes, Pooja, yes. Mr. Bhutani, I'm keeping repeating this thing that when it comes to number of chapters which I told you in today's webinar remains the same for all this thing. When it comes to number of pages, minimum, I told you, I think you have missed that. Minimum at least should be 150 to 200 maximum. However, each university has its own requirement. That's what I'm telling you, that you should refer to your university, that the details your library will give you, because the chapter which I discussed you remains same for all the universities. Here and there can be happened. Minimum 150 to maximum 100, 200, 220 should be the pages. Okay. Mr. Ahmad, yes, 6 chapters are required. However, if any university say 5, you should go for 5. But what I told you in today's webinars remains same for all the universities. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that please get in touch with your university, because sometimes results and discussions are one chapters, sometimes they are different chapters. That's what I'm trying to tell you. How much time does the whole process of writing the thesis takes? Oh, that's a good question. The time, probably sometimes takes 6 months, somebody can write it in 3 months as well. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward for the next webinar. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Tanveer. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Is it necessary to present any literature review and methodology presentation line? Uh, Methodology presentation? No, there should be no. Yeah. Is certification valid for curriculum writer in any two teaching? Yeah, you may present it. Yeah, of course you may present it, Pallavi. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Looking forward for all to have your presence in the next webinar. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sayed. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.